a better concentration, but always keep in mind that caffeine does not improve your memory or learning performances. But there are other ways, of course, which we'll discuss later on. But caffeine can help increase your concentration overall. Another liquid that can be considered as a stimulant for your concentration is also green tea. There's a lot of antioxidants and nutrients inside the green tea that are also proved to increase brain function. And finally, of course, there are a lot of power drinks that you can buy that also have a lot of caffeine inside and other chemicals that can help you concentrate. Now, of course, these power drinks are not that good. Most health experts will not recommend power drinks at any given point, but coffee and green tea, if taken with balance and with moderation, they can have really positive influence when it comes to concentration and brain functions. So in the past lectures, we talked a few times about how your brain is a muscle and that you need to train it. Now, of course, the brain is not as simple as just being a muscle. It's the most complex organ in the human body. It's made up of complex networks of billions of nerve cells called neurons, and there's a lot of neurotransmitters and chemicals that go around the brain. So it's not as simple as just calling the brain a muscle like your bicep muscle or your tricep muscle. What we mean by the brain is like a muscle is by using the brain, you will make it stronger. However, the reasons are different. Muscles become stronger with use because the muscle cells synthesize new motor proteins. The added proteins, which are the engines of muscle contractions, increase the muscle size and strength at the cellular level. So overall, your brain only contains a little bit of muscle. But again, what we mean by your brain is a muscle, so train it, is that the more you use your brain muscle effectively and the more you train it, the more powerful it will become. The more you'll have, the more you'll improve your brain functions, the more you'll improve your concentration and the different areas in brain functioning. But you need to do it right. Your brain is a muscle that you can improve it by training, as we said. But just like the rest of the muscles in your body, heavy training can harm your muscles. If you want to concentrate 20 hours a day, if you want to use your brain functions in an excessive way, this can have detrimental effects. It will kill brain cells more than it would actually help generate more cells and improve your brain functions. So for example, just like not eating a lot of protein will eventually have bad effects on your muscles, well, they will not grow as effectively as you were hoping. Not eating breakfast in the morning can affect your brain functions. And also, on the contrary, overeating will also affect your brain functions. That's why you need to find a balanced diet. Other things like alcohol, for example, can affect your brain cells. Not sleeping enough will decrease the regeneration of your brain cells. Violent reactions and always having high levels of stress in your life. Lack of water, too much information, multitasking, even not getting enough sunlight can have bad effects on your brain functions. And that's exactly why you need to be doing it right. So you will need to slowly and gradually train your brain. You cannot expect to lift 500 pounds when you've been training for 2 months. So if you start working for 5 minutes with complete concentration and then rest for 2 minutes, adding 5 minutes to your focus work and then 2 minutes to your break will lead eventually to an hour of full concentration in 12 days of training. So this is what you need to do first. There are 2 exercises included here, very direct exercises that you need to work on that will eventually help you boost your brain functions and especially your concentration in the long run. There's nothing that you can do in the short run other than eat well, exercise well, get a cup of coffee, eliminate distractions. This will help you see improvements instantly. But as we said, it's a muscle that needs training, and therefore you need to train it properly. Just like you have a workout plan, you need to have a workout plan for your brain as well. So for the first 12 days, you are going to be doing exactly what's written. You're going to start working for 5 minutes with complete concentration and then rest for 2 minutes. After these 2 minutes, you will add another 5 minutes. So you'll concentrate for 10 minutes and then you will take a break for 4 minutes. And you keep going until you feel like you can't concentrate at all, like you are genuinely tired and you can't concentrate, or when you finish the task. And then the next day, you carry on from wherever you stopped. If you were able to get to an hour of focus before finishing the 12 days, go back at it. Start from 5 minutes and keep building up. You will see that you'll be able to add more minutes when you're trying to focus after finishing the entire exercise than you did when you first started the exercise. Now, once the 12 days of training are over, you need to switch to a more complex exercise. And the thing is, these are not exercises where you need to delegate time for them. You are doing these exercises while you are finishing your daily tasks. So you are not wasting any time. On the contrary, you are saving time because you're doing your tasks more effectively. It is usually known that in order for you to create a new habit, it takes around 21 days. Therefore, after these 12 days of concentration, for you to get to a point where you were able to concentrate for an hour, now you're going to have a 21-day exercise that's going to also help you improve your concentration even more and more. So ideally, start the first 3 days with 30, 30, 15, 15 concentration intervals. It doesn't matter what amount of time your break is. You might take a break for 10 minutes, you might take a break for an hour. This is not the issue right now. You will be able to eliminate these distractions that come during the breaks afterwards when you do effective planning. But for now, what you need is to be able to focus on the task for a certain amount of time. So when we say concentrate for 30 minutes, but prior to these 30 minutes, you're going to put a timer, put an alarm after 30 minutes, and once it goes off, you're good to go. But before you start this 30-minute or this 15-minute, you need to do what we talked about before, and is sitting down for at least 2-3 minutes and just reflecting, relaxing your mind, and preparing your mind for a state of concentration, for a full state of concentration. And then you start the intervals. You're doing a task, go 30 minutes, and then stop. If you feel like you can go for even more than 30 minutes, don't do it at first. Test your limits. Take a few days to just test your concentration levels, and then feel free to switch it based on your needs and on your concentration levels. You can always switch up the times and increase the time intervals, but usually this is good. Being able to concentrate for 15 minutes is really good, let alone being able to concentrate for half an hour or for 45 minutes. And then, of course, day 3 to day 6, you start increasing. The increase is not significant. 15 minutes in the first interval where you have the highest levels of concentration and willpower overall. Day 6, 9, you're kind of switching up. You're adding a lot more at the end. These are where your concentration levels are dropping, and this is where you actually need to push the most, and you follow through with the exercises for 21 days, and then you will notice a significant and intense change when it comes to your concentration. You can keep repeating these exercises, increasing the intervals based on what you need. But here's the thing, after doing these exercises and not stopping, you need to commit to them. Even if at any point you have a day where you have a break, just try to sit down and read a book. do something with 30 minutes of intervals in between. Focus on one thing and do the intervals. And after that, it will be a habit for you. Whenever you want to work, you'll be able to just eliminate all the distractions because you already have it. It's already in you, this habit of sitting down and concentrating on a task with being able to disregard all the distractions around you. It will become a natural habit inside of you. And this way, you will not have to struggle with concentration because your brain functions and your brain muscle is getting stronger and stronger every single time you're doing this exercise. And on the long run, every single time you're doing this, it will help increase your brain functions and your brain muscle and your brain power. And you will get to a point where you absolutely have super high levels of concentration, where you can just sit down and zone in on something, eliminating all the distractions and just fully concentrate on something and get it over with. Because when you get distracted, the average time to regain your concentration takes up to 25 minutes. And we already talked about this, which is a lot of time wasted. So making a to-do list helps your brain stay organized and you wouldn't get distracted on your work, thinking about what you want to do next. Concentration is just the start. And of course, I won't expect you to know how to make a to-do list based on what I said right now. And that's exactly why we're going to go through it in later lectures. But you need to practice it. Keep on practicing it. Studies has shown a significant increase in your attention span when you meditate. So not only does meditation improve your focus, but you will feel calm and think clearly. There are a lot of apps that you can find for guided meditations. Most of them, the good ones, are not free, but it is worth it to buy the subscription. Otherwise, if you just want to test it out, there are a lot of apps that give you free trials for you to test it out and actually see your concentration levels, how they're getting, if they're getting any improvement. And also, there are a lot of guided meditations on YouTube that you can refer to and use. Now, however, if you don't want to refer to any app or any guided meditation, this is a good exercise that you can do on a day-to-day basis that would for sure, I've tried it and a lot of people that I know tried it and it works very effectively. And it's as simple as that, focusing on your breathing. Sit down in a silent room, and if you can't find a room that is really silent, put your earbuds and put some really natural music, like the voice, the sound of water, or the sound of fire, the sound of wind, or a sound of peace and serenity, nature. You can find a lot of these sounds on apps or on YouTube. Put your earbuds so you can block all the noise that's coming from the outside and focus on your breathing. Don't do anything but focus on your breathing. Close your eyes and think about your breath. Focus on it. As we said before, you are going to get distracted by thoughts. And what you need to do is you need to become aware of these thoughts. Even if you feel like you can't concentrate on your breathing for more than 1 second at a time, don't get frustrated. This is a start. As we said, you need to build it up bit by bit. So sit down, close your eyes, focus on your breathing, and whenever you get distracted, be aware of the thought. Be in a state where you are aware of what's going on when it comes to your breathing. But when you're not thinking about your breathing anymore, you need to be aware of what's going on in your mind. What is this thing that is distracting you? Did you get distracted? Where did your thoughts wander off to? And as soon as you figure this out, you're going to see whatever it is that distracted you. Just leave it and go back to your breathing. Don't think about it, don't dwell about it, just leave it and go back to your breathing. Focus on the breath. It's going to happen many times. You're going to get thoughts, you're going to get distracted. You go back to the breathing. You keep going back to the breathing until the 10 minutes are over. The more you practice it, the more you'll be able to see your attention span, your concentration span on your breathing getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You'll be able to concentrate more. And eventually, this will not just help in meditation. Therefore, when you're studying, you're focusing on studying, or you have a certain project at work and you're focusing on it. When you get a certain thought that wants to distract you, just by having the habit of disregarding these distractive thoughts when you are focusing on something which you acquired through meditation, it will become a habit when you're also working on other tasks. Whenever you get a thought that is distracting, first, you will be aware of it, and second, you'll be able to disregard it and go back to focusing on your breathing. This meditation exercise is called Mindfulness Meditation, and it doesn't just improve your concentration, it also improves your memory. And some studies shown that meditation also relieves stress. So of course, meditating on a day-to-day basis will improve not just your concentration, but your overall brain functions. Now, another thing that can also help a lot is exercise. Joining a class or working out with a friend or going for a jog. Any kind of exercise, physical exercise, can also boost your brain functions and make your brain healthier. Exercise will eventually increase your heart rate, which improves blood flow to the brain, and it will help boost memory and overall brain function. The more blood is circulating through your body and going to your brain, the more nutrients and the more control over your blood sugar levels and the flow of oxygen-rich blood to the brain, which will overall help boost these brain functions when it comes to concentration, cognitive abilities, memory, and eliminating and reducing stress and anxiety, which are very, very crucial factors when it comes to your concentration. Because we said before, when you're in a state of, when you're anxious or when you're worried about something, your concentration will be automatically affected because of your nature of attention. Now, something else also that can help a lot is that whenever you're talking to someone, try attentive listening. We talked about this before, where most of the people nowadays, when they're having conversations with people, they are focusing on what they want to say. They're not focusing on what the person is saying, they're focusing on what they want to answer. So what do I mean by attentive listening? Meaning that you don't just listen to reply, but take the time to focus on what the other person is saying and understand each and every word. This helps your brain grasp the information and increase your overall concentration. 2 more things that you can do. Listen to audiobooks while reading the book in the same time. When you're reading a book, it's easy for you to get distracted by noise and by thoughts that are going through your mind while you're reading, and usually using your visual perception for you to be able to read the book. However, when you are doing both, listening to the audiobook while reading at the same time, you are using more senses, you're involving more senses into it. And this will eventually help boost your concentration and your cognitive abilities, because you are working out your brain. You are using several senses that you have in order for you to accomplish your brain's perception. But in the same time, you are doing the same thing for you to be able to concentrate more. When you are reading and you're listening to the audiobook, you will not get distracted by noise around you. You're reading the book and you're following through exactly while the audiobook is running. You're following through with each and every word that you're listening to while reading at the same time. This will help you boost your concentration levels a lot. And just by trying this exercise for a few days, you will see tremendous results on a day-to-day basis. Eventually, losing the audiobook or losing the physical book and just focusing on one of them, it will become much, much better because you already have higher levels of concentration. Finally, there are some tools offered online or through apps that you can use to help you concentrate better. There are apps made out of problems and exercises that can boost your concentration levels.